Good morning, everybody. We're about to get underway, but let me give you a couple of things. First, if you could silence your cell phones so those don't go off. Flash photography is not permitted. For the satellite coordinates, those are Galaxy 17/17K, slot B. Downlink is 12035.5H. I recognize some familiar faces here, but for those of you who had not done this before, when you ask a question or when you prepare to ask a question, raise your hand, call on you. Please wait for the microphone to reach you. Identify yourself and your outlet, and then ask the question. We'll have Coach Kennedy out here first, followed by the players. Let's welcome Coach Billy Kennedy. Coach, that's Steve. Nice to meet you. Coach, would you like to make some opening remarks?
Sure. Obviously, we're glad to be here, coming off 2 good wins, and having been to the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago, we know how special an opportunity it is for us to continue to grow our program, and in order to do that, we've got to beat a very good Michigan team that's playing really well with 11 straight wins and got a good streak going. And defensively and offensively, they present a lot of different problems.
I'm sorry, right here in the front.
Gabe Bach with Texags. Billy, if you could just take us through how well your 2 bigs are playing right now and the matchup nightmares that they can present an opponent.
Yeah, Tyler Davis and Robert are playing extremely well, obviously, just being dominant in the paint offensively and defensively, and really just seems like I think we've gotten 80% of our rebounds off of missed shots, which is a high number, and those 2 guys are the reason why. They're getting everything in their area, they're getting everything out of the area. And then offensively, they've been a factor in the post, and we've been able to power the last 2 teams we played against, and that's what's going to make this an interesting matchup, because they're going to now have to go out on the floor and guard perimeter post and Robinson and Wagner, which presents a challenge for us.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Coach, I was actually going to ask about your bigs as well, but now that he's asked that, your guard play has been pretty solid as well, in particular Starks. Can you talk about how well he's played so far in these first 2 games?
For a kid whose first start was at Kansas, and he actually played pretty decent against Kansas. He's come a long way in a short amount of time. To be a point guard at this level requires a lot of attention to detail and usually a lot of experience on both ends to get this far. But what he's been able to do offensively and defensively has been really tremendous for us. He's a threat offensively. He's not afraid. Again, sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it can be a bad thing, and we got to limit those moments when he gets out of control at times, as a freshman can do in these situations. But he's been a big factor of our success for sure.
Mike Tierney, New York Times. Billy, with so many players coming and going during the season, were there times when it was difficult to plan for practice and games? And did you ever get mixed up as to who was available on a particular day?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, like you said, for practice and preparing for games, not having guys play, and then starting freshmen in the SEC play, and those guys used to starting, and then we get the two guys back, and then all of a sudden those guys go to the bench. It was disruptive for everybody, and just thankful these guys stayed the course and believed in what we were telling them and told them, hey, if we can keep doing the right things and stay together through this time, then we got a chance to do something special, because we knew we were talented and we knew we had some pieces that could take us a long way.
Was there ever a day when you had to think hard about who you had and who was not available?
Yeah, I mean, plenty of times, because Robert Williams, he had a concussion at one point. He had the flu at one point, didn't play against LSU. We had knee injuries. We had suspensions, unfortunately. But our culture is very important to us, and doing the right things and growing as a program is very important to us. And so sometimes you got to go 2 steps backwards to go 1 step forward. And fortunately, our guys bought in and grew up some, and that's why we're in this position today.
You were not in this venue, but in the same town 2 years ago for the Sweet 16. What is it about this group, and especially your leaders having already experienced the Sweet 16, that may make this particular team maybe that group that can advance to the Elite Eight for the first time in school history?
I think the first time you get in a situation like this, you're celebrating, and everything's about having fun. You want your guys to experience it all, and sometimes you experience too much of the success. What we've tried to do after beating North Carolina is talk to our guys about keeping their eyes on the prize. Our goal is to get to San Antonio, and whoever's in our way is what we need to be prepared for next. And Michigan presented that challenge, and this team's done a good job. Right after we beat North Carolina, obviously it was a great win in Charlotte, but we've done a good job of putting that behind us and getting focused on the next challenge, which is very well coached Coach Beilein Michigan basketball team.
Real quick, because we're doing transcripts and doing this over the satellite, if you do not a follow-up question, but if you ask a second question, please identify yourself again.
Okay. Mike Tierney, New York Times. Billy, your team went from number 5 in the country to unranked. Unfairly or fairly, your team kind of got the label as the underachieving team of the season, and now you're here. Talk about what that ride was like, and did you ever lose faith that the team could be here at this stage?
Well, I never lost faith because it happened so early in the year. It was the beginning of SEC play, and I knew we lost 2 guys to knee injuries that we had a good chance to get back. And the mistakes that were made that we had to handle, I believed that we could get it corrected, and I knew we had the pieces. The hard thing was, just like I talked about earlier, getting practice time, getting guys used to playing roles. We had, I figured we had 9 different starting lineups this year, and so just getting a pecking order and getting a rhythm of rotations was key in the midst of SEC play, which is not the time you want to be figuring that out. But I think we've won 9 of our last 13 games in league play, and we were able to figure that out and start playing well. And it was early enough in the year that I thought we could right the ship, and fortunately we were blessed to get that right.
Right here on the right.
Josh Peter with USA Today. After your victory over North Carolina, Roy Williams talked about the respect he has for courage you've shown in dealing with Parkinson's, and I wonder what it requires of you on a daily basis and how it's changed you.
Well, every year in the spring and in the summer, I look for different opportunities to learn new things, and was blessed to experience a new procedure in spring and in the summer that has helped me get through this process. And every year I've gotten better because of the new medicines and the new procedures and different things someone with my disease would go through. I've been blessed to have great support, nutrition, exercise, and then I'm fortunate that my symptoms aren't as glaring as maybe some other people who have the disease. So I've just been blessed to have resources and accessibility in my position to have some advantages maybe some other people didn't have, and I'm very thankful.
If I can ask a follow-up, Josh Peter with USA Today again. What's the new procedure and what are your symptoms?
Well, my symptoms are just like anybody that has Parkinson's. I get stiff, and fortunately, massage therapy and acupuncture, I do a little bit of everything. And when you get in this situation, you do what you need to do to attack the disease. But fortunately, like I said, my symptoms aren't as glaring as other people's, and I've been blessed from that standpoint.
Are there any more? Okay. Let's go here with the jacket.
Hi, Brian Gillis, SB Nation. Coach, I'm sure you've had an opportunity to watch a lot of Michigan over the last few days. What are some of the things that jump off the film as challenges that they present you?
Well, one, how good they are defensively. I think their ball pressure defensively and how aggressive they are defensively on ball screens could present some problems against our offense, because we set a lot of ball screens in our offense. And then I think their personnel, their ability to shoot the three at every position, especially the 5 position, is something that you don't see. And we're more of a traditional low post power team, probably more like Purdue is in that league. And so they're a perimeter post league, and more like Vandy in our league. So that's where the challenges are going to be presented, with our bigs being able to go out on the floor and guard them, and maybe their bigs being able to guard our bigs inside. I think that's the biggest difference in how both teams will attack each other.
Right over here against the wall.
To Bonus on the Washington Post. You were talking before about how it's kind of been a 1 step forward, 2 step back at times season, and given obviously the stuff that you've been going through off the court, has it kind of changed your perspective when you have a season like this, where you have guys coming in and out of the lineup and you have all kinds of stuff going on that, maybe 10 years ago you would have reacted a little differently to now there's maybe a different perspective on what's important?
Well, I always thought we had good kids, and I knew we had good players. And so probably 10 years ago, it would have given me more problems. But when you go through things personally and you go through things in tough times, basketball is really simple. And the basketball part of it was easy. The culture things in our program are very important. The suspensions bothered me more than the injuries. And but I think we corrected the things we needed to correct, and that's why we're here today.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, let's welcome to the stage Admon Gilder, Tyler Davis, and Robert Williams. Questions for the players? Right here in the front.
Gabe Bach with Texags for the two bigs, Tyler and Robert. If you could take us through this matchup, how interesting it is with their ability to stretch out on the perimeter, but obviously you guys' ability to bang it inside against them.
We've guarded teams that can really spread the floor before, so it's really nothing new to us. But you know, they're a good team and they play really hard. They bring great effort, and you know, we just got to stick to the game plan and guard them.
I just say it's a unique matchup. Like he said, we've played people, bigs that can stretch and shoot the floor, but we plan on dominating in the areas that we specify in, so just keep that mindset.
Right here in the front. Oh, do you have a mic? Okay.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Robert, I'm curious, you guys, you and Tyler had big rebounding games in your first two games. When you look at the Michigan roster, is that something that you're confident you can keep up against Michigan?
Honestly, we're always confident in our rebounding skills. You know, no matter the task we got ahead of us, we feel like we take pride in rebounding, and our coaches stress that that's a big part of us winning. So I definitely feel like we could control that part.
Right here.
Tyler, Mike Tierney, New York Times. Tyler, I think you were the only player who played in every game this year. With so many guys coming and going with injuries and suspensions, did you ever lose track on who was available, and did your confidence in the team drop in terms of making a run in March?
No, I never lost track, and my confidence definitely didn't drop in my guys. I mean, we had a great summer. The young guys did a great job of stepping up during those games. We lost a couple, but I thought we had a great effort in practice leading up to those games, a great effort in the games as well. So I think we handled the ups and downs the best we can.
When guys kept coming and going, did you ever think, what's going on here? Are we jinxed this season?
Oh, no, I mean, stuff happens. You go through it as a team, but you have to do the best you can to stay together and keep your head right.
Okay. Right behind you, in the green. In the green, thank you.
Zach Taylor, 1620 WTAW. Admon is a guy who's played the point at times throughout your career, whether that's by necessity or not. How have you seen TJ grow in that position, and how have you helped him along in that position?
You know, TJ's a natural scorer, and that's what he is. And so I think, you know, we adjusted as time went. And so, you know, I told him, you know, just go out there and play your brand of basketball. And you can see it's benefiting our team because he gives us another weapon from the point guard position to be able to score in. And I think he's done a great job of, with his composure. You know, he's a super confident guy. So we just tell him, you know, just show it out on the court and, you know, just do your thing.
Gabe Bach with Texags for Admon. What have you seen on tape from Muhammad Ali Abdurrahman specifically in his ability to score the ball in a variety of ways?
You know, they set a lot of up screens, ball screens for him, and so they do a great job of slipping out too. So that kind of throws you know, defenders off because you know you don't know if they're setting a ball screen or if he's slipping. So I think he's a great player. You know, he's able to score from all three levels. He's able to get to the basket, able to pull up in mid range, and shoot the three very well. So it'll be a nice matchup that we're looking forward to.
Mark.
Tyler, Mark Wicker from the Southern California News Group. When you started developing your footwork and all the post moves, back in high school or maybe even before that, were there players that you looked at on TV and said, I want to be able to do what that guy does, when you were growing up?
Yeah, I liked Tim Duncan a lot when I was young. Just guys, when I was younger, I really wasn't above the rim at all, so I just used to watch guys that I didn't see that were high flyers. But yeah, I think I looked up to Timmy the most. He has great footwork, great face-up game. But, I just try to do the best I can to use my body when I was younger, so it just kind of came along.
Are there any? Oh, right here.
Gabe Bach with Texags. Tyler, a lot of people don't realize you grew up in California. Spent a lot of time here growing up. You were here 2 years ago for the Sweet 16. What would it mean to you to not just get to the Sweet 16 in California, but to to go beyond that, to go where nobody in this school has ever gone before?
It mean a lot. You know, I feel like right now we're paving our own way, but you know, I'm in the moment. You know, we got a game coming up, and that's all I'm looking forward to right now. But it's exciting. I love being back here. I love the weather. I just love, you know, seeing the city.
Mike Tierney, New York Times for Robert or Admon. When you guys were 0-5 in the SEC, did you have a team meeting? Did you talk about how we can get this right? What was going on during that time?
We had a couple team meetings. You know, we just felt like everyone was kind of branching out. You know, when things started to fall apart, they were doing their own thing. So we just had to buy into knowing we're all here for each other. You know, letting the coaching staff know too, along with the players, we're here for a mission.
That was at the time where I was in and out of, you know, treatment and stuff like that, so I wasn't really with the team a lot. And like I told, I think we actually did have a team meeting, and I think the main thing was, you know, just next game, you know, because my freshman year we went through a stretch where we lost 5 games when we was 5 in the country, and so it's capable of happening to anyone. So.
Any final questions? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I'd like to introduce Adam. This is Adam Quisenberry. He's the A&M Basketball Information Director. If you need any further information, any further needs from the Aggies, please check with Adam.
Everything's back there now.
I'm sure it's fine. I mean, we didn't have any reading right now. Sometimes
Oh.
right.
So should we just have a water set up? Oh, we don't have power.
Okay, we'll be starting here in a few minutes. Michigan has arrived. Just a reminder to turn off or silence your cell phones. Flash photography is not permitted. Satellite coordinates are Galaxy 17/17K slot B, downlink 12035.5H. When we'll have the players out here first. Raise your hand if you want to ask a question. In fact, you can get my attention while the previous question is being answered, and we'll get a mic over to you. Please identify yourself and the media outlet you represent. Let's welcome the Michigan Wolverines team. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, Moritz Wagner, and Duncan Robinson. Let's open it up to questions. Any questions for the Wolverines? Right here. Hold on, let's get you a mic.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Duncan, you guys had a close game against Houston. Is that good at this time that you guys got tested and you had to get through a tough game like that heading into this one?
Yeah, I think playing in a close game like that certainly helps. But on top of that, I think we feel like we didn't play our best really that entire weekend. So I think we have some confidence going that hopefully we can start to play better moving forward.
Right here. Hold on. Thank you.
Gabe Bach with Texags. Mo, if you could take us through the challenge that the big men for A&M present, Robert Williams and Tyler Davis.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, that's a really good front court. They throw the ball in a lot. They're very physical and obviously very talented as well. Yeah, they're trying to beat you on the boards and do a great job inside. So it's a great challenge coming up for us.
Right here.
Hi, Brian Gillis, SB Nation. You mentioned they're big men. They kind of jump off the film when you watch them. But when you look at the film of A&M, what else poses a challenge for when you see them play?
Oh, to any of them, sorry.
mean, they're coming out of the SEC, a very athletic, fast conference, so they run the floor really well. They're a very talented team led by a very talented freshman point guard. They're not scared of anything, you know. They just run the break, and then they have a great balance between inside and outside game. Obviously, do a tremendous job on the board. So, they looked really good against North Carolina.
Oh, right here.
Duncan, Ben Page with the Dallas Morning News. I know you touched on this a little while ago, but why do you feel like y'all didn't play your best last weekend, and what are some areas y'all can improve in?
Specifically offensively, I just thought we could have been a little bit sharper with our execution. You know, credit to Houston and Montana. I think they both did some different stuff to mix it up. But I think, you know, looking back on the weekend and looking back at the film, I think we collectively as a group realized that we could have played a lot better as well, though.
Any follow-up questions? Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
That way you don't have to carry all that stuff around.
Let's welcome to the stage Coach John Beilein. Coach, welcome.
John Beilein.
Nice to meet you, Steve Vanderbilt.
Steve, thanks, Steve.
Coach, you want to make some opening comments?
We're thrilled to be here. Long trip from Ann Arbor yesterday, and we arrived late last night and got a good night's sleep, though. And we're feel blessed to be in this situation, playing in a great arena against a tremendous Texas A&M team. And look forward. We had a good practice yesterday. Look forward to about 90 minutes today. We've already watched film for 30, did a walkthrough for 30, and we're going to be as ready as we can be, given that we didn't know much about Texas A&M until, we after their win against their great win against North Carolina on Sunday.
Right here in front, please.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Hi, Coach. How are you?
Good.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk before you came in about how vital the play of the bigs of the two teams are going to be. What about the guard play? You've had some good guard play, and so have they. How important of a role do you think that'll play in the outcome tomorrow?
I think that at this time of the year, it's really important to have good guard play if you're gonna win. The big men are obviously important, but I always thought there was some championships, some games over time that have been absolutely determined by the guard play. So I think all the sets of guards on both teams may be underrated a little bit, and it's going to be a great matchup. I think we have the one senior on our team who has really been shown this incredible growth. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman is just an incredible outgrowing, and Xavier Simpson hardly played last year while he continued to grow as a player, and he's really been a very a big asset for us, particularly our defense. But Texas A&M guards are good now; they're really good.
Right here.
Gabe Bach with Texags. John, if you could take us through what you have been able to learn about A&M on tape, especially their twin towers or two bigs inside with Rob Williams and Tyler Davis.
Yeah, they're very talented. They're skilled. They pass the ball well. They're obviously a tremendous offensive rebounding team. The 12 offensive rebounds a game they're getting is as high a number as we've seen this year. The rebounding game, I don't know if I'm different on it, but we were really consumed with how many offensive rebounds we can keep a team from getting. Rebounds don't win the game. Offensive rebounds win games. And so that concerns us a great deal. They got really good guard play and change defenses. They play, a lot of teams we've been playing 100% man. They play a really good zone defense as well, and they have a lot of talent. They got a terrific coach.
Let's go right here in front first, and then we'll go back there.
Hi, John. Dave Briggs, Toledo Blade. Just to kind of illustrate the evolution of a team throughout the season, I have kind of a strangely specific question. What do you remember about that first close scrimmage at Toledo, and what it maybe told you about how far you guys had to go this year?
Can I speak about that? I don't think I can speak about the close scrimmage. From around that time. I think that with a good basketball team, there's growth every day. And we started in September. Anybody would have told me in September, October, you're going to win 30 games, I would say, you obviously haven't seen us practice yet. We're a long way from winning any games. We really have some good young talent on this team, developing talent, and they just really want to get better, and that's a key. And we've had a lot of breaks this year now. UCLA, we got a freshman at the line. If he makes both foul shots, we go into overtime. If he misses, it's a loss to UCLA at home. That wouldn't have been good, right? We had a game with Maryland where we had to go to the foul line with no time left, or 1 second left, and we won that game. You saw the game the other day. We've had a lot of good breaks this year, and that's what I know about this team. And I've been with teams that were really good teams that had a lot of bad breaks.
Right.
That does not answer your question one bit, but that's the best I can do.
Right back there.
John Ben Baby with the Dallas Morning News. You mentioned there's an A&M zone. Why does that zone give teams such fit?
Exact same thing as Syracuse. It's big. It's really big. And you think all of a sudden, okay, I've been open all year here, but all of a sudden you got a guy like DJ coming out on you, right? And he's 6'9" on a wing. They got to have the other wing is going to be 6'10" or 6'11", and that can present problems for teams just shooting over that length. That's been the Syracuse. Syracuse got a great package in their zone. I remember when I was at West Virginia, we were playing and we had these really good looks to get open the zone, and we got a guy wide open, and Hakeem Warwick, blocked that shot into the 10th row, and that was the end of our night. I mean, our kids lost all confidence because of that length, and Texas A&M can do the exact same thing.
Do we have any further questions? Right here and then right behind you afterwards.
Coach Brian Gillis, SB Nation. You mentioned Xavier Simpson, who's playing well. From the outside, it seemed like he really turned the corner right at the Big Ten tournament. He played all year, like you mentioned, but he really made a difference. Is that something that you saw coming, or was it a surprise to you at all?
There were different pockets. In the UCLA game that I just spoke about, we were down 4 or 5 points late, and with less than a minute to go. 4 points, I think we were down. And he just flat out stole the ball from one of their guys and went down and laid it in. And he's just for him it was, you know, a couple steps forward and then maybe a step backwards in some things, and then there's more steps forwards and then just lateral steps. He's growing. He and I have sort of established a trust level with each other, and that he knows that I trust that he's going to do. I know he's going to make mistakes, and he knows I'm going to make mistakes, but we're going to continue to go through it. But he's just evolving. I'm really looking forward to seeing him over these next 2 years, how much he continues to evolve. But right now, he's defensively and in many ways offensively, he can play with any guard in the country.
Richard Kroom, Bryan College Station Eagle. Coach, going back one question.
Where are we? Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Going back one question, because we've seen that happen. What you talked about, players losing confidence with the 6'9" guys coming out at them and blocking 3-pointers almost from the paint. What do you do to keep your players' confidence up when that happens? Because it's probably going to happen at one point or another.
Yeah, that is always a thing that we really try to be real with them. What's happened? Like another thing that happens if somebody gets dunked on. Oh my God! It's like you know, it's the end of the world. No, it's 2 points. Go down and hit a 3, and we're ahead by 1. Right? So we try to be real with them and all. He blocked the shot. Hey, it's our ball. So what's the big deal? Right? And you just be real with them and just try to get them down, because it's life today for these kids is so much about highlights and not about substance. And we're just, what is really happening here? We have the ball back. So what if he blocked it? So what if he's talking smack? Just do the next right thing, and don't worry about your feelings being hurt or your ego changing a little bit. Just play through it. And that's I think it's the biggest challenge with all of us right now, whether we're fathers and mothers, is handling that type of hype that goes to the kids. You know, that they do not necessarily. It's the end of the world on any little thing. No, it's not. Just continue on, and persistence. Time is a friend of truth, and just keep going through it and keep being persistent, and things will work out.
One follow-up question? Go ahead and identify yourself again, please.
Richard Kroom with the Bryan College Station Eagle. To follow up that, 2 years ago A&M played you and I and had that miracle comeback, and they've kind of admitted a little bit that they let that hang with them when they went to the Sweet 16. Do you see a problem with that, with these shots, so to speak?
Yeah, what are you afraid? I know they come back on Northern Iowa.
Like where you just don't forget that, or you haven't focused to the next thing. And
no, I mean we've been through quite a thing here, where we won 4 games in 4 days, and then had a big layoff and went and won 2 games against Montana and Houston, are really 2 really good defensive teams. And no, I don't. I see us just going to play on, and we were fortunate to be here, and we played the best basketball we could play, and it wasn't as good as some of our other games, but that just happens. Everybody's always asking for reasons why. There's no reason why. It just happens. They're 19-year-old kids. It just happens.
Right down here in front.
Gabe Bach with Texags. John, what do you need specifically from Mo Wagner going into this matchup tomorrow?
Stay on the court as much as he can, right? It's not like he will foul sometimes with that he doesn't need to even foul, right? And so he's really working at that very hard, but trying to stay on the court a little bit more. At the same time, when he was off the court, we became John Teskey did an incredible job defensively for us. But it would be better have him out there for 30 than 23 like we've had him the last couple games. And he's done that. He's played against some really big players, and it has been a problem. But sometimes it's just getting used to the officials. He speaks English really well, but when things are coming rapid to him very quickly, sometimes he'll just misunderstand what a ref's telling him. So but he's a great kid, and I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the world.
Right here.
John, Ben Baby again with the Morning News, and kind of along that same line of thinking here. I mean, how important is it for y'all to have your front court play very well and have the depth just in case Mo gets in foul trouble, or y'all have that situation come up?
Yeah, we're used to this over the last couple of years, as a matter of fact. So I think we're pretty versatile. That if we call it sudden change at Michigan after Bo Schembechler, that when things don't go right, all right, it's sudden change. Let's change, and we'll still find a way. next man up type of mentality, and we've had that all year long. John Teskey in our win against Purdue, against arguably one of the best big men in the country, and Isaac Haas, he was like, all right, who's Mo Wagner, right? This kid's good too. So he certainly doesn't have the MO coming in like a Tyler Davis or somebody like that, but he holds his own against some pretty good players this year.
Right over here.
John, Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. Knowing the rigors of your profession and what you do, can you speak to the respect you have for Billy Kennedy and, you know, obviously dealing with, you know, with Parkinson's and still doing what you guys do?
Yeah, you know, Billy and I played against each other. I think I was at Richmond in the Arkansas Little Rock tournament. And we played them, and I think they had just maybe gone Division I, maybe they're sitting there he had, and he was getting that program going. And I got to know him then, and huge respect over time. And we sat together. You know, if I'm going up and I go to an AAU tournament, I usually sit by myself. If I see Billy Kennedy sitting by himself, I'll go sit by him. I don't do that many times. I just really respect who he is. He's very genuine, authentic in every way, and that he's in a tough conference at a university that expects nothing but excellence, and he's really a great coach, great human being. Everything that I know about him is authentic and genuine.
Is that all? Thank you. Thank you, Coach, very much.
Steve, we're just offering them drinks as they come in.
What's that?
We're just offering them drinks.
Oh, that's
as they
fine.
come
Do you
in.
want something to drink?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you need anything?
Oh, I can just grab something.
Because I know we got a quick turnaround.
Powerade, water.
Yeah, it'll be here at 105.
Water, orange juice, apple juice. Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. Might go back.
Then water.
Sure. Yeah, Coach Hamilton will be up here at 105. So we got 5 minutes still, but. And then we'll have a half hour between Florida State. So.
Okay, we are going to have Florida State out here shortly. Coach Hamilton will be first. For those of you who have just walked in, a reminder to silence your cell phones. Flash photography not permitted. Satellite coordinates are Galaxy 17/17K, slot B, downlink 12035.5H. Also, if you just walked in, raise your hand if you have a question. let me ask I don't want to do anything without the audio guys, but sure. Let's welcome to the stage Coach Leonard Hamilton, Florida State Seminoles. Coach, do you have some opening comments?
We've been very focused last couple of days, and I feel like the team has a sense of the importance of where we are, and they realize how we've gotten here by playing extremely hard and giving a tremendous amount of effort with an unselfish spirit. And so I feel that we're in a pretty good mental state that, and we're anxious and excited about the opportunity to play against an outstanding team that's traditionally been very successful over the last number of years, and a team that has basically dominated this part of the country. And so our guys, because we have a lot of young and inexperienced guys, I think they they feel like this is a tremendous opportunity for us, and we're excited about it.
Do we have any questions for Coach? Back there.
Sam Cini for The Athletic. Coach Hamilton, you're 69 years old and could easily pass for someone who is 20 years younger. Do you have any aging tips for us that are trying to age gracefully?
Wow. No, I was not. You know, I think my mother was 97, and obviously she passed some pretty good genes down to me. But I think more than anything else, I enjoy what I do. I don't really feel stressed or pressured. I really enjoy working with young people. I think the most important thing that we do is we take youngsters when they're teenagers, and we usher them into young adulthood. And I think sometimes as coaches, the pressure to win championships, well, I have plenty of rings, I have plenty of watches, Coach of the Year awards, but I get more excited when I'm invited to their wedding, when they ask me to be the godfather of the kids, when they call me and ask me for personal things that's going on in their life and decisions that they need to make. To me, what type of husbands, fathers, neighbors, and citizens they become are probably the paramount thing that we do. And so I take my job seriously, and I enjoy what I do, and I think that that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm able to feel as good and maintain the level of health that I've been able to, because I'm excited every day I come to work that I have the opportunity we as a staff to impact young folks' lives, and I enjoy it. And I think sometimes when you enjoy what you do, it allows you to eat well, prepare well, and you know, I don't sleep very much, but I never have. So other than that, I try to eat right. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I do curse every once in a while. Other than that, you know, I say some things that my mother probably wouldn't be happy with. God rest her soul.
Right here.
Mike Tierney, New York Times. Leonard, you've been at this a while with all of the upsets and lower seeds winning this year. When that happens, does that surprise you?
All the what now?
The upsets and the lower seeds winning in the tournament. Does that surprise you? And do you have an explanation for what's going on this year?
See, I think that basketball is I said earlier, in a revolution. I think kids are playing basketball. They enjoy it. They're playing summer leagues. They got tournaments. They got AAU ball. They really enjoy high school ball. And I think you have kids playing good basketball all over the country. But the schools that get the players with the most recognition have notoriety, and the expectations for those schools are at such a level that sometimes you get disappointed when the notoriety doesn't meet the success. But in reality, I turn the TV on all the time, and I see a school that I don't know very little about. They're supposed to be categorized as a mid-major school, and I'd be saying, boy, I wish I had that player. I wish I had those guys. So I don't think that the word upset is something you can use as much as we used to, because there's parity. There are guys that are really, really enjoying how to play, and when kids find the level that they feel that they're comfortable with, and they're in a system that allows them to be successful, then I think you see kids being successful and programs being successful. And, you know, I mean, I guess you guys consider that it was an upset when we played against Xavier, but, you know, I didn't know very much about all Xavier's players, and they're really, really a good basketball team. And so I think that the media has not caught up to how well kids are improving, how kids are going everywhere. And I think when you find those programs where kids are happy and they're in a system that they can flourish in, you see them playing good basketball. And once we get in the NCAA tournament, I think anything's happening. That's why they call it March Madness. Mm-hmm. And I like it.
Right over here in the corner.
Theo Lawson with the Spokesman Review. I was reading about your passion for gospel music and your record label. I was wondering where that originated and how the label is going currently.
Wow. You guys are coming from left field on me today. As a youngster growing up, I'm not real sure I ever lived in the first 19 years of my life, maybe the first 20 years of my life. I never lived more than 50 yards from a church. And every time the church bell rang, I could hear it. And whenever the piano or the organ played, I could really sing with the songs in my bedroom. I grew up in the church. That was kind of a way of life for us. We, Sunday school, BTU, vacation Bible school, choir practice, Easter programs, Christmas programs, Easter egg hunts. You know, all those things were part of who we were and what I've become as an individual. And so the church has always been a very important part of my life. Going to church and worshiping has been a very important part of my life. I remember even as a youngster going every Sunday night with my grandmother to a different church in town. And so I kind of grew up with that, and I enjoy it. It's part of who I am. I enjoy it. And I'm not, I do have a gospel, a record label, but it's not as much as an income producer for me as to trying to provide people with access to opportunity and hopefully help them do what I feel like is important to them. Spreading the word, spreading the gospel, having an opportunity to express themselves in song has always been a part of my life, and I always try to work hard to encourage other people who want to do that to do it, and it's my way of kind of giving back.
Right here.
Mike Tierney, New York Times. Leonard, you use, I believe, a 10-man rotation, which is unusually large, I think, in this day and age, and the tendency among coaches might be to shorten their rotation this time of the year. It appears you're sticking with yours. Have you always believed that? Or are you aware that you might be going against the grain there?
Well, I haven't really thought about whether or not it's going against the grain. That's the way we've always played, and from even when I was in the Big East, I felt that that was the best way for me to compete with the rich tradition of programs that are always loaded with the top 7, 8 players who are some of the top players in the country. I just felt that it would be important for me to not worry about competing with the top 5 or 6 players, but let's try to get a team of guys that will allow themselves to win by committee. Our philosophy is we have a saying with our team, we're 18 strong. That includes our walk-ons as well. And we feel that that's important for us to find a way for everybody to contribute. I'm in a conference with some of the most heralded, rich, traditional, successful basketball programs in the country. And so Florida State was independent for many years. Then they joined the Metro, and then we evolved into having an opportunity to go into the ACC. But you have programs with 75, 80 years of Notre Dame, Louisville, Carolina, Duke, Syracuse, Virginia, programs with rich, traditional, successful programs over a number of years. So in order for us to compete, we feel that we can compete a lot better if we have more guys to sharing the load, where we don't put all that responsibility on 1 or 2 particular players, and it's been working for us for a number of years. No, I have not. I don't think that's who we are. We're 18 strong.
Mark Wicker right here.
Mark Wicker, LA Daily News. You've lost some guys early in the last few years to the pros. How have you been able to kind of compensate for that?
Well, we try to be selective in our recruiting process. We try to find youngsters that are comfortable with who we are and the style that we like to play. We try to get youngsters with as high character who like being in kind of environment that we try to create at Florida State. And so we feel good about those youngsters that have been able to come into our program and move on with their careers. And we're very proud of our graduation rate. Those guys who have been with us for 4 years, I think we've only had 5 or 6 kids not graduating in the last 25 years. So we think we are not compromising ourselves by not emphasizing the things that we're supposed to be emphasizing, get kids coming to college, getting an education. But those guys who have opportunities to move on, we encourage that if those opportunities are available. We find it easy to find kids who feel good about who we are, who want to be a part of the system that we have, and we just try to look on a whole lot of rocks and knock on a lot of doors, and we've been able to find the kids who fill the void of what we feel like we need.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
This guy, he has a question. Don't be trying to run me off.
John Blanchett from the Spokesman Review. Coach, your impressions of Gonzaga, any particular concerns that they present for your team?
When I look back and see that they won almost 30 games for the last 10 years in a row, I'm extremely impressed with the job that Coach has done. And they play with a spirit, the level of toughness, and they seem to be so fundamentally sound. They execute their systems very, very well. And they've been one of the more successful programs over a number of years, and it's extremely difficult to do that year in and year out. To have guys move on and bring guys in, and got guys developing and move, and the program just seems to go on and on and on. And as I watch them play, I'm just extremely impressed with how well they play together. They're confident in what they do. I don't want to say they got a little bit of a confident edge about who they are and what they represent. And when you have as much success as they've had over the years, you come into a tournament believing in who you are and your program and your system. And so the challenge for us is to allow our hunger. It might even be hangering. But my point is, seriously, what I'm saying is I'm sure we're going to be the underdog. I'm sure we're the team that people are saying have a tremendous challenge. Well, are we more excited about being who we are? Are we going to put ourselves in position to be the best Florida State team to negate who they are? Or are their level of confidence and their talent and the system that they have be more successful against us? So, we look, like I said earlier, we're looking forward to the challenge. We're excited about being here, especially playing against a great team that we have a tremendous amount of respect for. And I'm hopeful that the fact that they have been so successful, that it'll bring the best out of us. Any more questions? Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. All right, let's welcome to the stage the Florida State Seminoles, Phil Kofer, Trent Forrest, Brian Angola, and Terrence Mann. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up to questions right here in the front.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Question for Trent. Trent, you guys have had a very balanced scoring attack here through the first couple of games, and I know you guys have a deep rotation. Is that something that you guys have been hanging your hats on and something that could help you tomorrow?
Definitely. We have a couple guys that can really score the ball, so I feel like at any time you really don't know who you're going to get, and that's been something we've been able to do all season, and we enjoy doing it.
Next question. Right here, Mark.
Mark Wicker, LA Daily News. Phil, in terms of the grind of the ACC, you know, you're always going to have ups and downs. How do teams kind of maintain their confidence, even though you might go through a 2 or 3 game losing streak during the conference season, and maintain it so you can play as well as you guys have in the NCAA tournament?
I think personally the ACC is probably the toughest league, and I think you know, it's going to happen. You know, you're going to take a loss in the ACC no matter what. And I think most of the time, you know, people coming in, I think watching film and just learning from, you know, the mistakes that you had in that loss really helps a lot for us and other teams too, by the way. But I think just, you know, playing in that league, it definitely builds a lot of adversity and toughness, you know, for, you know, teams.
Any further questions? Right here.
Question for Terrence. Terrence, you guys defeated the top seed in your last game. What was that like, and how much confidence does that give a team like you guys?
You know, it was a nice win for us, especially because they knocked us out last year. You know, we kind of wanted to get back at them, and we did. So, you know, it was nice for us. It felt good. Everybody was happy. And then what made it better was that they were the #1 seed. So, you know, we kind of shocked the world with that. You know, now people are looking at us like, oh, they beat the #1 seed. So, you know, it just felt good for us, and it was nice.
Mark, again, right here.
Ryan, what impresses you the most about what you've seen from Gonzaga on tape?
For Gonzaga, I'll probably say they are a very deep team, and especially when they come to shoot the ball, they have a lot of shooters. And their big men are very, very strong and very nice and down low. So we just have to contain the dribble. Their transition game is pretty good. So you have to rebound and contain the dribble and keep people in front of you, contest shooters, and just run.
Just a reminder to identify yourself when you ask a question, even if it's a follow-up. Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. Okay, the Bulldogs players will be back, will be in here shortly. Just a reminder for those of you to silence your cell phones. Flash photography is not permitted. Satellite coordinates for the feed are Galaxy 17/17K slot B, downlink 12035.5H. If you haven't been in here earlier, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a mic over to you. Identify yourself before asking your question. Please welcome the Gonzaga Bulldogs, Silas Melson, Jonathan Williams, and Josh Perkins. Do we have any questions? Right here in front, please.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. Josh, let me ask you, what do you think in your mind is the single biggest reason why you guys have advanced this far in the tournament this season?
Just our team, our teamness. You know, when adversity hit, we stuck together as a team. We knew no matter what adversity was going to hit, but we stuck together through it all. I think that was huge for us. You know, we value winning plays. And I think our coach did a good job of stressing that message to us. And like I said, just us being such close as a team really showed in those tough moments. And we persevered through it and got the wins.
Right back here.
Kendra Andrews, Gonzaga Bolton. Jonathan, you guys are athletes, but you guys are also students. How do you balance those two responsibilities, particularly in March during the tournament?
I graduated, so I don't have no class right now. So I'm good.
I'm in one class right now, so
I'm only in 2 classes right now. But, we, you know, Steph, we have a lady who does her job really well. She takes it very seriously, and she knows it's a lot for us. But I think we make friends in the class, and they help us do a lot of things. We miss a lot of class, but at the end of the day, we came to school for education as well. So we value that, and we value basketball as well. So just coming with that mentality, and we've been doing it for 3-4 years now. So we got pretty good at it.
Jim Meehan of the Spokesman Review for Jonathan. They've got some size, some shot blockers in there, and you guys are pretty offensive minded. How do you size up the matchup inside?
We've been watching film on them a little bit and just getting to the lane, kicking out for open threes. Because we know as their defense collapse a lot when we get in the paint, so just kicking out for wide open threes. And when we do get in the paint, just try our best to go strong and finish and get dunks and use our hook shots. And for us to guard us, shoot their floaters and just penetrate the gaps and kick out for open threes, and that's about it.
Right there.
For Cy or Perk, these guys like to play fast, and you guys like to play fast.
Sorry, for the feed, can you identify yourself again?
Jim Meehan of the Spokesman Review. For the Cy and Josh, these guys play fast, and you guys like to play fast. What's the battle of the tempo going to be like?
rather than just it being a battle of tempo, I think it's just playing smart. Because I mean, you're right. We both like to play fast, but I think with playing fast, it also comes with playing smart. And I'm sure neither teams are trying to play too fast and turn the ball over or anything like that. So especially for us, playing against a team that's aggressive on defense like them, we plan on playing smart basketball.
I think they play fast because defensively they speed you up and they heat you up, force you to take some tough shots, whether the guards penetrating, shooting layups with their footers, or just getting, shooting bad threes. So I think defensively they speed us up. But like you said, we like to play fast well, but we get good shots on our end. So we just got to do a good job taking care of the ball, not getting what they do best, giving transition offense, and just get good shots and not have any live ball turnovers, and we should control the tempo of the game.
Tim Bunce from the Washington Post. For all three of you guys, Rui's obviously an interesting guy to have on your team with his background. I know his English has improved over the couple of years he's been in with the program, but what kind of challenges initially did it present having a guy who had to kind of learn, basketball's got a unique language, especially in English. So what was it like kind of integrating him into the mix, and what is it like now that he's, obviously a lot more comfortable with what you guys are doing?
So I think like 2 years ago, he was my first roommate. No, I was his first roommate basically. I was just taking him to my brother's house, and we would make dinner for him. He didn't know like a lot of words, so he just said, good. That's all he pretty much knew at the time. But I think he's been growing with that. Like Josh said, we have like Stephanie, our academic coordinator, been helping him out a lot every single day. I think he came a long way, especially this year, because he didn't really know the plays that well last year. But now he's more comfortable. Now he knows the plays. He knows what to do on and off the court. And he's a big part of our team. And yeah, he's a key part.
I just tell Rui he's a matchup problem for whoever we play against. So him coming in not understanding English as well, but he knew he was a basketball player, and he knew where he was successful on the court. So, it made him learn English and communicate with him pretty easy from the get-go. But like I said, him just getting more comfortable and more confident every game, it's showing in his stats and just with the smile on his face. So, like J3 said, it's an easy transition for us, and he's a good guy, and there's a group of good guys on this team, so he fit right in, and looking forward to a big game for him tomorrow.
Any further questions? Thank you, gentlemen. You got it. Hope you're getting my good side. Let's welcome to the stage Gonzaga Bulldogs head coach Mark Few. Coach, would you like to make some opening comments, please?
Let's just go with questions. Okay.
All right, right here in front.
Robert Morales, Southern California News Group. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Coach, Florida State goes pretty deep in the rotation, even during the NCAA, so maybe going 10 deep. How much more difficult does that make your task as far as game planning for them?
It does make it difficult in just trying to ascertain, just the sheer numbers of, okay, this guy's strength is driving, this guy's strength, he's a shooter, this guy can do both, this guy, this particular inside guy, left shoulder, this, usually you have 7 or 8 guys to deal with, but not 11. And it's impressive that they've been able to play that many. And usually what you see in college basketball is a tendency to kind of shrink your bench as you get farther along and deeper in the season and into the postseason. So very, very impressive.
I have one more, Coach. They're coming off a victory over the top seed. What does that, just in general, tell you about this team?
Well, just watching them tells me more than them beating the top seed. I mean, I physically, probably easily the most physically imposing and athletically gifted team we've faced maybe in the 20 years I've been head coach, I would say. Just the bodies, the size, the length, and the athleticism is really impressive, and the amount of pressure they can bring, and just the size and athleticism and the ferocity that they go to the offensive glass, and also some of the way they drive downhill. It's impressive.
In the back there.
Beth Harris, AP. Mark, Sister Jean is getting a lot of publicity this tournament.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But you guys have a chaplain. How does he interact? What does he do to help your guys?
Oh, I mean, he's a great guy, and he's always around, and he's not quite he's not as active or as involved as she is, but our guys have access to many different spiritual mentors, and even collectively. I mean, we pray at the end of every practice, and one of the players usually leads it. So we're not ashamed of that or afraid of it, and has been a good way to bring our team together and grow as a unit.
Any further questions for Coach? Okay, this is Barrett Henderson. He's the Bulldogs Basketball Information Director. If you have any other needs of the Bulldogs. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah.